to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. This episode is about what to do when you're stuck. If you're feeling stuck, this is worth a listen. On February 20th, 2026, Saturn and Neptune will conjunct at 0 degrees Aries. As many of you know, I've been in astrology classes for a few months, so I'm very new with all of this, but I learned something about this important astrological event that might help those of you who don't know what to do next, just that stuck feeling. Now, very briefly, what does it mean when I say Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees Aries? Neptune is one of the higher consciousness planets. The other two are Uranus and Pluto, okay? Neptune governs the unconscious, spirituality, intuition, illusion, escapism, and, the psychic and emotional realms. It's those things that are hidden. Neptune dissolves boundaries. It blurs lines. It takes us out of the physical world and into the inner one. So that's the energy of planet Neptune. Saturn, on the other hand, is about as worldly as it gets. Saturn rules structure, boundaries, responsibility, rules, discipline, reality, karma. Saturn's like, hey, you get what you deserve. So when Saturn and Neptune come together, we get two completely opposite energies, blending and stacking. One wants to dissolve, the other wants to define. And right now, these two planets are meeting in Pisces, which is a water sign. Now, they're meeting right now in Pisces as I record this. By the time you see this episode, they may not be in Pisces any longer, okay? So, Aries is a fire sign. So these planets, they behave differently depending on which sign they're in. Water signs are associated with feelings, tears, our response to things, courage. Those are a few key words for water signs. And fire signs are more energetic, lively, playful, and they can be, pretty quick to anger. Now, what changes when this happens in Pisces? So, the last time Saturn conjunct Neptune was in 1989 in the sign of Capricorn, and I am a Capricorn, born December 25th, 1976, and that coincided with the collapse of the USSR, communism in Eastern Europe, and the fall of the Berlin Wall. Now, this is only one example, but I wanted to give this example because that was a breakdown of external systems. Capricorn is an earth sign that's ruled by Saturn, and some key words for those two are concrete, traditional, structure, rigid, authority. Capricorn is all about being grounded. Now, this time is different. Pisces isn't about governments or institutions. Pisces is about belief systems, faith, emotional coping mechanisms, the unconscious, escapism. So instead of watching structures collapse outside of us, we're seeing structures dissolve inside people, okay? Spiritual illusions, emotional avoidance, all right? Ways we've been numbing out, ways we've been bypassing instead of dealing. Pisces dissolves, Saturn demands accountability, and that combination is uncomfortable but clarifying. Pisces governs all the ways that we tend to check out. Sometimes that's substances, scrolling on our phones, fantasy, spiritual bypassing, disassociation. Now, see, Saturn doesn't allow endless escape. So this conjunction often shows up as emotional burnout, confusion, feeling stuck, nervous system fatigue, and people feeling lost. Not because something is wrong per se, but because something old is dissolving and hasn't yet been replaced. Now, this is where I want to bring in something I learned from Edgar Cayce. And if you don't know who he is, I strongly urge you to look him up. Edgar Cayce was a Kentucky boy, way ahead of his time. He's known as the sleeping prophet because of his non-local awareness abilities. He was, in my opinion, the most prominent figure of the New Age movement, and Edgar Cayce was the founder of modern holistic medicine. Cayce taught that anytime someone takes a hiatus from life, they must return to their 0 degrees Aries point in their natal chart. Now, a hiatus doesn't mean disappearing. It can mean depression, burnout, loss of direction, feeling disconnected from purpose, and maybe emotional withdrawal. Like, in other words, when you don't know what to do anymore. And we've all been there. 0 degrees, that represents new energy on a chart. Just in case you didn't know that, there are 30 degrees in a sign. 0 degrees is the beginning. 29 degrees is completion. That means, towards the end of something. So Aries is the ignition point of the zodiac. And the identity associated with Aries is I am. So Cayce's teaching was essentially this: when life stops making sense, go back to your point of origin. So what does this look like in real life? I'll use me as an example. So for me, my 0 degrees Aries falls in my 12th house. The 12th house, well, that's the hidden house, the house of spirituality, of retreat, solitude, inner world. So when I don't know what to do, when I feel stuck, when I feel overwhelmed, it's not a good idea for me to push forward. And I've done that because I am a Capricorn and I'm going to get to the top no matter what. But pushing forward never works for me, and it's a real struggle not to. My moon phase is the crescent moon, and those of us born under this moon experience this internal struggle. Our resolve is tested when we feel like we must keep going. We feel like that because our independence, it always feels threatened. So your moon phase is what drives you, by the way. If you aren't familiar with this, do your natal chart and look at your moon phase. And I can do this for you if you want. Just email me, paula@paulaswope.com. So pushing forward does not work for me because I actually need to go inward. With Aries in my 12th house, I get unstuck by returning to my spiritual books, my studies, my inner work. I take a hiatus from life and I go back to Wayne Dyer. More meditation, more contemplation. That's not escapism for me. That's alignment, and it works like a charm every single time. I feel an inner tug to return to those studies. So follow that tug when you feel it. It means something, okay? Here's why this matters with Saturn and Neptune and this planetary alignment. It may impact you significantly or it may not. Look at your chart and see which house these planets are in, okay? Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune rules the unconscious. Neptune is deeply psychic. Saturn is boundaries. Saturn is rules and structure. When these two meet at 0 degrees Aries, something powerful happens. This is not about choosing spirituality or reality. It's about embodying both. Saturn gives Neptune form. Neptune gives Saturn meaning. And 0 degrees Aries says, okay, now that everything false has dissolved, who are you choosing to be? This is where astrology becomes useful because your natal chart, it's like a to-do list. My professor says that reading a natal chart is like reading blood work because you can really see the big picture of a person's life journey. Now, this conjunction will impact everyone differently depending on where Saturn and Neptune fall in your natal chart. And that's the case with all transits. So Look at which house they're in, which area of life they touch, and that's where confusion may arise, old coping mechanisms may dissolve, or maybe a reset will be required. And that's where your 0 degrees Aries becomes your compass. When you don't know what to do, go back to where your chart begins. And if you don't know how to read a natal chart, that's okay. You can use a site like astro.com, or you can work with someone like me, because really when you look at a natal chart, if you don't know how to read a natal chart, it's not going to be any different than trying to read Arabic if you don't know Arabic. It looks that foreign. So I use the Sirius software, and I can generate a precise interpretation and then add my 2 cents, which you already know that I will do that. But you also want to look at the transits. Where are these 2 planets right now? Where are they in your natal chart? And then where are they transiting right now? Which house are they in right now? Your natal chart never changes, but the planets are constantly moving. So looking at the transits will give you insight and guidance to your personal life and the collective. So I'll close out with this. Pisces ends the zodiac, Aries begins it. Saturn and Neptune are teaching us that dissolution must happen before rebirth. If you feel lost, tired, or disconnected, that doesn't mean you're failing. It may mean you're being asked to return to origin, and origin is not outside of you, ever. And as far as the collective goes, we've seen a lot of media coverage over the past couple of months that has made us question what's real and what isn't. Keep the astrology in mind when you watch the news. And thank you for being here with me again today. If you love the Thought Snob podcast, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next week.
The Thought Snob podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob podcast with Paula Swope.